go with 3-Rex Reaper. That's going to be my prediction. All right.
I think you 3-Rex Reaper on gold, on Pillars of Gold then.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then that makes sense for mech in game 1. Okay, I like it. I can get behind this prediction. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran from Alpha X is MaSa.
And up at the top left-hand side of the map, we have the red Zerg player yet again. It is Scarlett. Who, by the way, is representing Team Brave Star, which I feel like should, for her, be renamed to Brave Scar. Because then it's like Brave Scarlett.
Hey, you bring that up. She had an amazing set of games this weekend in the China Team Championship. It's really worthwhile noting because she helped carry her team to a second place finish, which is pretty sick, by the way, because she wasn't on Brave Star last season, like last year. And so they actually finished bottom of the group in the team league. And with Scarlett joining the team, they finished second place, not just in their group, in the overall event. And Scarlett helped with a full-on 7-0 all kill in that process. So she's on form.
That is awesome to hear. I know she was talking about that and how that looked like it was going to be a really, really fun series. So glad to hear that. It sounds like it's been pretty cool. MaSa, I feel like, really just has been this player that alternates between playing a lot and playing not that much. And it's always, the farm for MaSa is always going to come down to where you catch him in that cycle, because he starts off when he's not playing when he's playing a lot, he goes from pretty good to really good, and then he starts actually playing almost too much and starts expecting that he's going to do well, which gets in his own head, and then he starts falling in skill until he gets frustrated, plays less and less and less, then starts coming back to it, gets back in form, and then kind of goes through that up and down cycle all over again, just over and over and over again. So I don't know what form MaSa's in. It really, really does depend on like individual day. So we'll see. This first game is going to be really revealing. I'll say that.
The Sling is going to force a cancel on the bunker. I mean, the bunker's kind of a funky one anyway, because I don't see how you really get much out of it, right? Because it's right there where there's going to be queens, lings. Maybe you get 6 lings out of Scarlett instead of just the 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, cute little bit of harassment. I mean, in the end, only cost 25 minerals extra, and I guess 100 minerals sunk up into something for a little bit longer as well, but he's going to be saving on up for that starport, getting up some Hellions, and we'll see if he decides to throw down like a fast 3rd CC or something behind all this.
Yeah, I mean, 3cc, I mean, he's already double gas, right? So the next fastest 3cc is like 4 minutes anyway, which at this point, is that even like fast 3cc, or is it just kind of standard, you know? But the triple gas, that's worth keeping an eye on.
So I know I talked a lot about mech, but the specific thing about MaSa's styles of mech that I love is his Banshee controls out of this world good. And I say that because I do see that tech lab being built on that barracks. I see the starport not making anything just yet. I'm waiting to see, is he going to do the little swapperoo? Okay, it's going to be the fusion core, so not really for Banshees. He's going to be going into battle cruisers, seems like.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, he has a second starport. Wardy, the second starport in the bottom left.
How did I not see this? I was just looking at the starport build and I was like, yeah, and I didn't realize that was the one in the bottom left, right? I just assumed the one in the main base was still finishing up. Been a long day. Okay, double starport BC. Man, Scarlett's going for a fast fire anyway, though. So if there's ever a way to start, this is the build she wants to be doing. And it's not that Scarlett's really seen anything. She's seen nothing, actually. But it's just that was her build choice to actually go essentially 2-base layer, very fast layer into this spire. And that is actually really, really advantageous for her.
Okay. Do you feel like it's still advantageous if she goes for something like mutas and not, you know, corruptors and mass or something? Because I'm afraid that she'll make, because it came out so early. Oh, okay. She spots out the fusion core. Never mind.
But I think it's
I thought if she
goes
didn't,
mutas, right?
Yeah.
because we've kind of gone to this weird point of versus mech or BCs even where Mutiling Bane is the answer. You just play Mutiling Bane as your opener. You play Mutiling Bane for a little while and you get to this point, you're kind of having a good time, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, the Terran's still on 3 bases and I'm on 6. Cool, I guess I'll start adding in some Roaches and Corruptors and actually taking proper fights. So I'm not sure, in fairness, I'm not sure how well Mutas would do against double BC. But the important part is you can chase those BCs down. So if they teleport in aggressively, they aren't getting out alive generally.
Yeah, well, she is actually going to be committing straight up to the Mutas. And the reason why I bring that up also is because the battlecruisers do start with a good bit of armor. So they do survive for a really long time versus Mutas. But you're right, they do get chased down if the battlecruisers are taking a lot of damage, especially from the Queen. So the two-port Banshee is going to be pretty interesting. You already see Scarlett trying to do some nice micro, pulling back individual Mutas. This battlecruiser teleported in. It is going to go down over here.
Nice couple transfusions bring some Mutas up. Unfortunately, she loses 1, but you lose 1 Muta versus a BC. Did the other BC just teleport? Okay, teleported home. I like that. I heard the BC teleport click. I was like, no, don't tell me you just teleported in after you lost the first one. But yeah, teleporting home, that's a necessity probably just to defend. Double BC defensively is probably fine. Obviously, they're a little bit slow to maneuver, but then there's only so much room to really defend anyway, right? So these Mutas shouldn't be allowed to do much damage, but it's already a strong start here from Scarlett.
Yeah. Well, second battlecruiser's already out as well back at home, so 2 BCs should be able to cover between the main and the natural. Does have the factory stalled out for a little bit, but those get restarted back up, and we do have that big transition that MaSa's going to be heading into with all those factories being made. And he did make 3 Widow Mines. Are those just like initial there are Mutas out on the map Widow Mines, or are those longer? Okay, just the early ones then.
It's just that sort of thing as well, where it's like you don't have the gas because you're building double BC, right? So you can't really like go into like a couple of Cyclones, which might be good. You're not really thinking about Thors. And the Widow Mines just help tide you over because the BCs have a huge build time, right? So the Widow Mines are just that extra little bit of, yeah, I'm going to be okay here. By the way, though, love what Scarlett's doing. She's got full map control. Rich Vest being gas base, yes, please. If she gets double Rich Vest being gas up, amazing. You know what she could do? She could take the other one as well. She has that much map control right now. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd actually love it. I actually think it can work.
She might accidentally scout the second starport building battlecruisers if she does.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I mean, the gas income you get off these double Rich Vest beam bases is really just amazing. And it's actually going to help her to snowball this game where she's just going to start building so many Mutas that it's just going to get out of control. That is a little dangerous, right? Because you've got to imagine if you continue to mass up Mutalisks here, that you're going to get to a point where you get very scared about the splash damage, right? If a couple Thors are there, you take a Widow Mine shot, it's very dangerous. For a moment, looked like she wanted to jump on the BCs. Then she was like, wait, how many? And she's like, okay, that's not a number of BCs I'd jump onto.
Yeah, it's also pretty painful because now as this BC count just starts getting higher and higher, going up to 5 now. It is at the point where every single time the Mutos get in range of the BCs, Yamato is going to guarantee a kill on every single Muta that gets target fired down, which could be a maximum of 5 Mutas going down every single time. With only 17 Mutas, that it means that you make 3 wrong moves and you lose the majority of your Mutas.
But Scarlett is mining 1,600 gas a minute, Ravi. And she hasn't even got her gases on this left side set up, so she's making 16 meters a minute. So,
that is absurd.
Yeah, that's where the double Rich Vest Beam comes into play. And okay, she's in a bit of trouble here. I was going to say I wouldn't mind adding a few Corruptors on somewhere along the way. But honestly, I actually just don't mind the continuation of Mutas because they are going to get the job done just basically like Corruptors would, just maybe cost you a couple more Mutas. You know, because what, maybe these Corruptors would have been in the front and then you don't lose a couple Mutas to auto attack damage there. Yeah, she does the job of pushing that back. And of course, the Mutalist count is then, the more Mutas you have, the scarier it does become harassing elsewhere.
Now, I wonder, okay, so MaSa's going to go ahead and lift off the second starport, which, funny enough, is going to run into the Mutas. I think Scarlett was just checking around for other stuff down over in the bottom left-hand side. So that's going to be a nice little pick off there. But MaSa, he was only making 1 more battlecruiser. Is he planning to commit more to the battlecruisers, though? He kind of started making more Widow Mines for a little bit as well.
Honestly, I mean, you can play Mass BC, right? And it might not be a bad way to play against what is essentially just Mass Muta. And that's why I really would like either Corruptors or even better with the Infestation Pit coming up, just get Infestors and Neural, right? Because I feel like the more BCs there are, the better it is to invest into those Infestors.
Oh, Thors! Oh my god, that splash damage.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The BCs cancel the base on the left side, by the way, so no double Rich Vespene for Scarlett. That would be disgusting. Quadruple Rich Vespene gas. I don't want to even figure that one out. That's a dead BC, though. It doesn't teleport away in time. That's just how many mutas we have. MaSa can't even figure out how many mutas he's meant to be, how fast he's got to teleport away. That's a dead BC, and that is expensive. And that makes up for some of the cost of these mutas, of course, too.
Yeah, oh, man. Oh, the nice thing is that MaSa, as he gets the armor upgrades, it's going to help out for both his ground army of these Thors and everything, as well as also for the battle cruisers. But Baneless time rolling on in. I do get sniped off by the Cyclones, which unfortunately do get softened up as well for MaSa. But I mean, MaSa has been able to at least set up this fourth base. Oh, the BCs are going to be on cooldown for their teleport. They need the Thors over here. One BC goes down. The rest of them do manage to survive.
I like how Scarlett's doing it. You know, she's trading a little bit worse, but she's obviously overtaking the entirety of the map. And this is what you're meant to do, right? At the start of the game also, I think I said something along the lines of, oh, the Terran's on 3 bases and, you know, I'm on 6. Well, you know, 4 bases versus 7, similar idea, right? And that's where you're at. And if you can keep MaSa at that point, then this is amazing. Run by into that right side, even more bases. This orbital nearly goes down. SPV's pulling to repair. Means they just clump themselves together. And that's a big hit to MaSa's economy. And there's no threat elsewhere on the map, really. So with 28 Banes already morphing, I think this little army that's moving across is not really an issue for Scarlett to handle, especially when she's going to fly in and kill this orbital on the 3rd base, and then probably get back home to deal with this as well. Anyways, I mean, this is just dead orbital, and that's massive for Scarlett.
Yeah, this is not a situation where MaSa can trade base for base right now, because Scarlett is, like you said, taking the entire map. She's even taking MaSa's bases at this point, let's be real. And MaSa just losing that 4th base really, really hurts. I feel like he needs to trade 2 bases for 1 at this point, and he's gonna be able to Yamato down 1 base. This is gonna be enough. Oh, he barely misses it.
I mean, he was desperate to get out to keep the BCs alive, which makes sense, of course. Scarlett out down the right side, even taking that base just up from MaSa's 3rd. I mean, you may look at the ultras on the way and be like, why is Scarlett making an ultra cabin? But it actually works pretty well in this scenario where you're making, you know, BCs don't kill ultras super fast unless they use the Yamatos on them, but the BCs are going to use Yamatos on something anyway. And then if ultras can get on top of Thors, this works well. Oh no, another dead CC. MaSa has like no mining.
Okay, Wardy, I think this is getting to the desperation point. Here is the way that I see MaSa still being able to win this game. He needs to get, magic box on top of the Thors. That is not good for MaSa. Even with some of the good splash damage these Thors can do. Okay, so my thought here is that MaSa needs those 7 Widow Mines he still has out on the map to get massive damage, to just obliterate a lot of these mutas. Because if you look at it, Scarlett, yes, she has insane mining. She doesn't have an insane bank just yet. If MaSa takes one really magnificent fight, I actually think he can just go on a rampage around the map.
These mutas are definitely not fighting units, right? And this is why I talked about the Infestors a while ago. And Scarlett starts to make her way there now. Actually, I don't mind the Ultras coming into play to help with this as well. It's just I don't know if she has the gas to make enough that it works out. Obviously, she's maxed out at the moment as well. Problem is, if you just make 5 Ultras and that's all of your reinforcements, it's probably not too great either. Few corrosive fouls, Thor's locked in the corner, big corrosive foul connections. Again, every Thor that goes down just makes the mutas more and more likely to win out against the BCs.
Yeah, there's only 18 mutas left over now. It doesn't seem like, okay, Scarlett's making 10 more now. The Thors are getting pounced on by these roaches. Battlecruisers also getting pounced on by the mutas. There are quite a few battlecruisers and not that many mutas left over now, though. And with the Thors adding in some extra DPS, it seems like MaSa's actually winning out in the air fight, can help out versus the ground, but no, he's just going to instead go straight toward one of these other bases, start sniping off some of these drones. I don't think any mutas are coming out at this base, but there's only 10 mutas out right now, Wardy, and there are 8 more on the way, but Scarlett is taking damage in the meanwhile.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned that something had to happen here and MaSa just then had to go, and You know, I think the thing is, Scarlett actually did the damage for him because she started to build so many different things, as this is another BC, Yamato, and Teleport away trade. But she built so many things that she's not made use of, right? Neural Parasite is not going to get made use of here, no Infestors. Ultra Cavern hasn't been made use of, no Ultras. She's set up for so many things, but not actually made use of anything. She has a lot of minerals in the bank, and I do look at this army, and I'm like, well, actually, Lings don't do that badly against it. It is only 2 Thors and 5 BCs and Widow Mines, and there's a lot of Widow Mines, and those BCs are terrifying, but it's not the ground army which yells, I'm going to push across the map and kill you, but it's the BC kind that might just do that anyway.
Yeah, with 3 more on the way, we're going up to a total of 8 in just a few seconds time. That is just going to be so difficult to deal with only, what, 19 mutas? And I also want to note, during all of those trades, MaSa did not have his +2 weapons upgrade for those battle cruisers. He has it now. I would love if he was also getting up the 2nd upgrade for the +2 armor, but I understand he's kind of a little bit gas starved right now, and he has been losing a lot. But his mutas are on the right-hand side of the map. Widowmine goes off on them. Is MaSa going to teleport back to help defend his 3rd?
Yeah, I mean, he could, right? The problem is if he teleports back, it does give Scarlett that left side base. Scarlett also has the right side base. This is the thing. Even though Scarlett looks like in a really tough position, she is mining way more than MaSa. And while she kind of needs to for this army composition to work anyway, it's kind of at that point where maybe MaSa just can't clean up bases on the left side, then the right side in sync. And that means that Scarlett is always just going to keep on having an army to make more with. She is adding some Corruptors on. I really do like that just for a bit of extra tankiness against those BCs, because the problem she had in the last fight against BCs is the mutas just didn't stand up for themselves, but the Corruptors do help to alleviate that issue a little bit.
Okay, well, I think MaSa is forcing a reaction out of Scarlett here because he's heading straight over to Remain. I'm not going to lie, Wardy, there's a battle cruiser for every 2 mutas. I actually am not sure Scarlett wins that fight.
Couple of Infestors though, Fear Dragon. They do have Neural Parasite.
Yes.
You take 2 BCs out of this right from the start. Fungal growth, they can't get out of here. Yeah. Okay, I think MaSa kind of panic teleported there. He probably could have stuck around and lived a bit longer, but then he didn't want to get chain fungaled because he doesn't know how many other Infestors there are. So it is a nice move for Scarlett to push this back. And again, every time Scarlett pushes it back, she gains that little bit of extra time where she is mining, she is building up again. And that makes me believe that little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I'm super behind this MaSa army, and him getting the bottom left 5th base up is huge for him, but there is still work to be done. Scarlett wants to protect this base. She's going to dive onto the BC for it, but how many mutas go down? Too many, I think, again.
Yeah, the Thor's adding in a bit of extra DPS there. Really stung. Now, these bases on the bottom left-hand side are extremely vulnerable. Banelings are going to get used on the orbital command base, and I think a few Widowmines can try and situate themselves over here to help out. But hey, you know, the Roaches actually end up backing off pretty quickly, since once the SCVs are gone, what are you going to do? Orbital's going to lift off. You're not really going to make a whole lot happen. And
this
other bases are playing
massive. 2 BCs for free?
Oof, okay.
I mean, that's the exact sort of thing that Scarlett needs, right? And I love that more and more Infestors are being brought into play. There's nothing long range that gets rid of Infestors, and that's why we're maybe seeing some tanks on the way from MaSa to help deal with that. But right now, the Infestor is actually a hugely powerful tool.
Yeah, I think MaSa needs something like the ability to just Yamato the Infestors in advance, which also means he needs to be prepared to, say, scan the Infestors in advance. Also getting massive Widowmine connections everywhere is helping. But yeah, it's tough to actually afford all those scans when you only have 3 orbitals. And it's tough to actually even get the Yamatos out, because Scarlett is not exactly keeping her Infestors super out in the open right now.
BC's cleaning up around this right-hand side. Hatchery's going down. Scarlett is getting to that point of being maxed out again. I did not think we were going to get there after that earlier fight where it looked like MaSa might have just won the game. This is nice. Roach is actually a huge help right now as well, right? She's not really had a Roach count for what feels like an eternity. Kills the 5th base with the Corruptors. Does lose this base, but she's mined out the gas, which is one of the more important resources for her at the moment. And with the counterattack going on, MaSa's not really going to get a chance to rebuild anything in this game, I don't think. So this is kind of do or die with this army, and it really is at this point do or die. Festus are on their own, but they've kind of got a way to get out of there for the moment, I think. So I'm not super worried about them. Obviously, you don't want to lose the Infestors without joining them up with like the Mutas and the Corruptors or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can snipe off a handful of these Infestors, that would be really, really nice. But I think you're right. The Infestors did manage to make their way out of there alive. The Hellions are not able to really give chase, even though Masa does scan to try and pick some of them off. He ends up losing that Hellion, and he's really just focus firing down the bases more than anything else. Scarlett doesn't have a massive gas bank right now, Wordy, but it's because she's remade so many Infestors. She's coming back for the army, and that is an army that I'm not sure Masa can just kill.
Yeah, with the amount of Infestors that are coming up, the Thors are like the biggest issue right now. But, you know, 4 BCs are much more manageable than what we've seen before. But if you can get the Neurals on these Thors are going down. And like I said before, there's not really any range in this army to shut down Infestors super easily. Once they've got those Neurals off, especially if you're going to Neural like the front line of Thors, the Thors behind are never going to reach the Infestors. So your best bet's probably to Yamato Infestors here. But then you have Mutas and Corruptors killing the BCs off while they're Yamato. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, Scarlett's just going to avoid a straight up fight for as long as possible because time's her best friend. She is still mining pretty comfortably. MaSa's mining off of one base that's, you know, even that base is pretty well mined out. 38 of his, all but one of his SCVs are on this base right now. You know, that is into consideration.
That is a really big problem right now. That's actually orbital. His last orbital, I think.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Also doesn't have a command center.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Just gets mass neuraled into GG. Scarlett neuraling her way into a 1-0 lead in this series. Ooh.
That is a stressful way to win the game, but it does work.
Yeah, I mean,
that way.
That was a really fun game. I mean, it's kind of what we expected, right? Like, MaSa played a bit of mech. It was exactly what we were talking about. Great call for your dragon, because that's not something I would have called myself. So great call on the mech. And then Scarlett really played this style of, I do feel like she was very fortuitous with the way she opened. That Spire early is always going to be great to help against BCs, especially double port BCs, which if you don't scout and then you don't have a Spire, it can end games just like that, right? Kind of similar to how she didn't scout the double carriers from Neeb and then it just killed her. So it really felt like a game where Scarlett got a good start and then she really took over the map. She got everything. She did all the right things. But MaSa had that one big push, and maybe it was after she did a lot of right things, but then she almost kind of did too much. Like she got carried away with her position where she was like, he can't kill me, so I'm just going to get an Ultra Cab and I'm going to get Neural Parasite, and I'm not actually going to set up for anything else. I'm just going to keep, harassing. And she definitely had time to make some of those things sooner and to actually put some of those things to use. So that big push shouldn't have been so much of an issue. And she was in a good enough position to play it out and win the game still, despite narrowly losing at that point.
Yeah, to me, that game was close enough that I could have seen, like, if MaSa, remember he lost his first battlecruiser after immediately teleporting it in. I guess it did give him some scouting information and everything, but he lost that one. He lost another 1 or 2 even before that big push had happened, just with teleporting out late and that kind of stuff. I feel like those fights in that game was close enough that if I put in another 1 to 3 battlecruisers in that army, that he just doesn't lose. I don't know. I actually think that might have been strong enough for him to continue pushing in and take on only 16 or so mutas. That was the entire anti-air. I feel like MaSa was really close to making something happen there.
He was? No, he really, really was. It's a touch and go game. And it gets so close to the point where you can go over like 100 of the different little decisions right here or there. And it could make the difference of MaSa maybe picking up the win in the end. So I mean, it just makes this a sick game, though, right? I mean, these games in the NA region have been absolutely delivering. This is only our second series. Map 4, that was map 4 of the night. We're on to map 5 now. And every map's been amazing so far. If this keeps up, NA is my new favorite region, I'll tell you that much. Top right, at Blue Terran, down a map, is MaSa.
And his opponents, down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, getting proxy raxed. It is the Red Zerg player, Scarlett.
Now, I'm just going to recall the start of game number 1 for you all, because it was 20 minutes ago, where Fear Dragon said he's going to proxy, he's going to mech one game and either 3-Rax Reaper or proxy Rax the second game. So
I know, I'm so sad I doubled down on 3x Reaper because I could have been so close. I could have had this down to the T. I could have had this perfect called.
I assume you think it's going to be a Scarlett T0 though, because, you know, you didn't predict a third map build order.
No, I think that he's going to go back to mech on the third game. I think, because I actually still think that MaSa, I actually still believe in MaSa winning this.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean, it's a decent start, but I think Scarlett just saw that SCV.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, the Roach Warren is just the ultimate smackdown of like
Cool
some
first
kind of really
as well, right?
Yeah.
This is the second game in a row she just gets straight up. I feel like she goes pool first anyways, already build order advantage. The Roach Warren straight away is like build order win territory.
That is pretty brutal. Can the Marines even get into the bunker? Is the bunker gonna finish? I think the bunker finishes.
Yeah, bunker finishes, but the thing is with the bunker finishing here is it doesn't really matter, right? Like you've already got roaches on the way. Usually going roaches against 2-Rax is bad because you have to give up the hatchery to get the roaches out. But because Scarlett was going blind roaches so quickly anyway, now her roaches are so fast that she realistically gets here to save the hatchery on the natural. And that makes roaches against the 2-Rax really, really good because then you don't have the marine building, you don't have the marine count building up to really deal with this. The factory at home will have to build a tech lab going towards a cyclone production. Yeah, I think Scarlett is going to be kind of close on this hatchery here, but I think she should realistically be able to defend it. Next bunkers aren't really going to get much of a chance to finish, and she's got Ravagers now to already start Crows with battling down this first one. Maybe MaSa can actually get rid of this hatchery in time. Needs to target the SCV, does so. Now he tries to get a Ravager. I think the hatch is going to survive. Great transfusion, great save on the Roach, pulling it back. Wow, perfect control from Scarlett so far, and she's keeping it up for the moment. This next Ravager's going to go low. Is it going to survive? Don't tell me. Are you kidding me? She lost only 3 lings.
That is absurd. MaSa, almost to some extent, a little bit of over microing, trying to get those extra kills there, wasting a lot of DPS. And the other thing is, would it have just been better to just right-click down the hatchery? But then you're also worrying about the counterattack. This is really, really bad right now for MaSa.
You said the right thing. He might... can he get a hatch with 3 Marines?
Might be able to get a creep tumor. That's what I believe.
There's no way.
Doesn't even go for it.
Fight the Queen. The Queen will win this fight, though, right?
Yeah.
1 Marine, full HP. Queen's gonna be low. If Scarlett survives another low HP unit.
Oh my god.
The thing is, right?
That's actually game. There's actually one Cyclone should not be able to win this. And now MaSa's supply block. Guess what? That tech lab on the starboard doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to save my analysis for Zombie Group returning because you're right. I don't think this game's going to survive that much longer. You are realistically in the process of losing your factory. Next depot is about to finish the Banshee on the way. Okay, maybe it doesn't end right away, right?
Right away is a relative term right now.
Yeah. I mean, she's building a lair. She's just going to go super aggro against this. The racks aren't at home. The factory's off of Tech Lab. Might even lose the factory here, right?
Yeah,
2 more files. Boom, boom. Oh, the SCP was underneath it. How come Scarlett gets to keep so many units alive and MaSa doesn't get to keep anything alive? Oh, Cyclone. Well, it's massive, so it's not going to live, right? Maybe. Possibly.
Yeah. This
extra Raptor showing up is painful.
Okay,
Banshee's
you know what?
about to be here.
Banshee will come out. You know what? You were right, Wordy. MaSa is not going to give up just yet. I do think this is still an unbelievably difficult place to come back from, but there's a fusion core more than halfway done.
There is. I just wanted to quickly mention, so you mentioned, maybe you should have right-clicked on the hatchery, but then you're scared of the counterattack, and that's exactly what happens, right? You're meant to trade with the roaches. These will, Ravagers will go for the Cyclone, won't get it. Banshee is going to do a good job. Now the Cyclone goes down. But yeah, just to finish my thoughts as these Ravagers die, the idea is, right, if you can kill off the roaches and Ravagers, then you at least stop a counterattack, and then it's like, well, I start an expansion, maybe it's not so bad for me. But to not get the hatch and then to not slow down any of the counterattack, that's where you just fall to pieces, because then you have full force Roach Ravager hitting you. That's brutal.
Okay, well, the unfortunate thing also is that the Ravagers not only chased down and killed the Cyclone, they got far enough back incidentally just trying to go after SCVs while the Banshee was killing them that Scarlett saw the fusion core, Wardy. Scarlett knows that the fusion core was made, and you know what actually is such a funny thought? Is if you just don't do anything with the fusion core anymore. You just get your opponent to commit to so this is the kind of thing that MaSa will love doing. He is one of the biggest fans in everyone in North America of showing something, baiting a response, and just doing the exact opposite of it. And I feel like that is maybe one way you can try and come back in this game, because mutas, you've kind of said it before, they're not army units. They're great at harassment, but they also do have some vulnerabilities.
They do. There's the Marines. I do like that this is already like Marines on the way up, right? Stim starting, because I feel like if MaSa wins this game, it's some kind of, well, it's not by letting the Lings in the main base, but it's definitely kind of a scenario where maybe you get across with some Marines, you get some good damage done. He's actually dying to a few Zerglings right now because he just has nothing.
For 7 minutes and he's dying to 6 Zerglings. 40. Not like this.
Yeah. You know, this is the NA StarCraft I signed up for.
This is NA StarCraft, but here's the thing: it will keep you guessing. It will keep you guessing until the end.
Okay, now the mutas just end the game because there's actually just nothing here. There's no missile turret. There's no anti-air. GG.